So the other thing we have to talk about is all this is about the realizations that are going to be coming for you, or probably have already, but this is the period where it's going to start to make sense. The waves have come, done what they need to do, yada yada. You're figuring out your gifts and how to handle them and all that. And again, don't rush yourself. It's playing out the way it needs to. The other part you're going to find is whether you are highly educated or not, whether you went to college or not, whether you got master's, bachelor's, doctorate, whatever, maybe you didn't even finish high school. You're also starting to find out that you have a high IQ, whether you're highly educated or not, just by being an empath. So let's get into that. So generally, and everybody's story is different, there's always exceptions to the rule, blah, blah, blah. Generally, empaths begin reading energy, whether they realize it or not, because they're in a volatile environment, generally in childhood. Doesn't mean you had bad parents or whatever, but I'll speak for myself. My parents were volatile. Every day I had to get up and kind of listen and feel for, like, what's this day going to be like? Is my mom slamming things, or is she playing music? You know, that kind of thing. You did it as a way to survive, right? Okay, the same way I did that. Like, I have to notice every little shift in my environment. Am I going to get yelled at? Is something bad going to happen? Is it going to be a good day? That's kind of how it starts. So without even realizing it, as a child, generally, you begin to read energy, just the little shifts. You start to notice little shifts that other people don't notice. Like I said, I started noticing if my mom was stomping and slamming or singing and having a good day. It starts with little shifts that only you notice. We generally think that someone being brilliant or very intelligent, we think that's a person who has gone to college, gotten a doctorate, blah, 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 whatever. And we think it's a person who has every answer, or the person who's speaking the loudest and knows all the stuff. But the reality of a high-functioning brain is much, much quieter and much more relatable, to be honest. If you ever felt like an outlier, it might be because your brain is wired to process the world through these things I'm going to tell you, these specific habits that I think you're going to notice. So we're going to talk about 10 things that will help show you this is a result of you being an empath, going through all you've gone through, learning all you've learned, whether you meant to learn it or it just came through life. These things probably relate to you, okay? The very first thing of a high IQ, just in general, but specifically being an empath, the very first thing is the need for your mental space, right? You have to find yourself throughout the day like, okay, I've got to have some time to myself to just kind of clear myself. It's not like you're being antisocial. You have to give yourself time to clear your mind, clear your energy, just room to breathe. When your mind is constantly mapping out, plans and reflections, you need that quiet time. It's actually your most productive thing you can do during the day. Okay, the second thing is you're probably the why person. People with high intelligence, they're pretty much relentless in their curiosity, right? You aren't just looking for facts. You're looking for patterns. You're looking for the whys. Why do people react that way? Why is the system designed that way? That kind of thing. That constant questioning is the key to knowing when someone has a high IQ. The next thing is narrating your thoughts. If you catch yourself talking through a problem out loud, don't worry, you're not losing it. Most psychologists call this self-directed speech. It's a tool that you use, a tool used by people with advanced cognitive systems to organize their memory and sharpen their focus. So when you find yourself talking to yourself out loud, that's very normal for someone with a high IQ. The next thing is you're comfortable with uncertainty. There's a massive difference between not knowing and not being capable, okay? Highly intelligent people are usually the first to say, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Lower IQ people, and I'm not digging at any of them, they want to act like they know everything. They can't admit that they don't know something. The higher your IQ, the easier it is for you to say, I don't know. Because you're aware of the world's, how complex everything is. And it's okay to not know. It's like the higher your IQ, the more you are okay with saying, there's so much to know, I don't know everything. Lower IQ people always try to act like they know everything about everything. But higher IQ people, they prefer accuracy over the illusion of, I'm certain about everything. Now here's a big one that I hear all the time. Another sign of this, of having a higher IQ, again, particularly by being sensitive to energy, is the overthinking trap. An analytical brain is hard to turn off. So what looks like indecision to other people is actually your mind running simulations. If it goes like this, it would turn out like that. If it goes like, overthinking it. What your brain is doing is kind of exploring multiple different outcomes, different models all at once, just to make sure the best possible outcome happens. Totally normal. The next one was a sharp sense of humor. So humor, genuine humor, is a high-level cognitive skill. It requires the brain to recognize a pattern, then flip it in like an unexpected way, and then connect two unrelated ideas in a split second. Does that make sense? If you can spot the hidden irony in a situation, your brain is operating at a very high frequency. Okay, the next one is called radical cognitive flexibility. So the most effective thinkers treat their beliefs like software. Like when better data comes in, you can run an update. You can change your mind on things. You're not that person that's like, I'm not listening to what anybody says. This is how it is, blah, blah, blah. Like you are open to new data. You can take that data and update your belief. Does that make sense? Changing your mind isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of advanced problem solving, right? Intellectual growth. The next one is the night owl tendency. So if you find your best ideas come in when the rest of the world is asleep, when everything around you is quiet, that's my thing. That's why I do your sessions overnight. That's when I'm at my best, when the rest of the world is kind of quiet, energy's not flying all over the place. A lot of research has been done that says people with higher cognitive flexibility, they adapt more easily to non-traditional schedules. The 9 to 5, the go to bed at 9 and get all the schedules that quote unquote society says you should do. You find like your peak mental energy is in the later hours. Bear with me, we're almost done here. Number 9, observing before interacting. Okay, so like when you're in a social situation, you kind of watch and listen before jumping in. If you are an empath, you already know this. Like there are people, you'll notice the habits of other people, and they kind of come in and they just take up all the air. They take up all the space. They just jump right in. And you're the person who doesn't do that. You kind of observe and you kind of listen before you jump in, right? You're gathering data. You're analyzing the dynamics of everybody there, watching emotional cues, that kind of thing. So that when you finally do speak, your contribution is thought out and precise. You're not just talking to be heard. Do you know what I mean? And last one, number 10, you tend to search for deeper meaning. There's like a constant quiet search for, like I said, the whys behind everything that happens, every interaction, every situation. You're wired to look for the purpose and identity beneath the surface. Like, this is what's playing out, but what's underneath this? And if you've been experiencing this, you'll notice that society as a whole tends to like mislabel these kind of characteristics, because people who want to be alone, they call it, loneliness, antisocial, people who question things, you're a skeptic, It's because other humans don't experience what you experience. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's exactly what's right with you. So all of these things that you do, other people don't understand. But these are the markers of a brain that refuses to stop exploring, to stop learning. And this is something I suffer with, because I get very frustrated when I'm around people who aren't doing anything to improve themselves in their life. They don't care about getting a further education. Oh, I graduated high school, that's enough. Like, I don't mean you have to go to college, but at no point in your life should you stop learning. No point. And this doesn't mean you have to, go to a brick and mortar school and study something. Just continuously be learning. It's what teaches your brain to like take information in and take the information you have to figure out information you don't have. Do you know what I mean? It's about the courage to keep questioning this puzzle of human life. How often do you find yourself overthinking a small decision only to realize later it was just your brain testing out different scenarios? Okay, so what's the point of all this blah, blah, blah? My guides have explained to me about a specific group of people that I work with, but most of the people who are here in general on this video, that this is all played out the way it was supposed to. The little things you learned without realizing you were learning them. It's very Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. Like, you were doing these things without realizing what was developing, what you were learning from it. And now this is all going to be shown to you. I just realized some of you are much younger than me and may not understand the Mr. Miyagi. If you've ever seen The Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi began teaching him karate moves without him realizing it. He had him do chores, and the kid thought he was just making him do chores. And then he showed him, no, I was showing you moves. You paint up and down because that's how you can block kicks, and you paint side to side, He's teaching him things without him realizing he's learning. Does that make sense? And that's what Spirit has done with us all. Put us through things so we could learn something, but we didn't realize what we were learning, and now it's all going to be shown to you. All this is to say, you came here with a purpose, and your life, from day one till now, has been preparing you for it. For someone who processes the world as an empath, these high intelligence habits aren't just traits, they're survival mechanisms. When you're wired to feel everything, your brain has to become incredibly sophisticated just to manage all the data. So you went through periods of life where things were very, very difficult to get you in the mode of, oh my gosh, I need to take a minute to myself. I need everything to just stop for a minute. Because you had to learn that as an empath, you have to take time to yourself. So the universe pushed a whole bunch of things on you at once to get you there, where you're like, I just need this to stop. I need to be alone for a minute. So that would then become a habit. For an empath, solitude isn't just about thinking. It's about energetic hygiene. Your brain craves quiet because it's the only time it isn't busy sorting through other people's emotions. So spending time alone allows your brain to finally process your thoughts instead of everybody else's. Pattern recognition is a shield for empaths. So things happen to you, so you start to develop your pattern recognition. That constant curiosity is how you stay safe. Empaths are natural pattern seers. You ask why someone is behaving a certain way because your brain is trying to map out like their emotional blueprint. You aren't just being nosy, you're identifying the frequency of the room before you step into it. What looks like overthinking is actually your brain running emotional simulations, because you can feel multiple outcomes. Your mind explores every mental model to see which path leads to the most grounded and stable result. It's not indecision, it's high level navigation. The whole observing first thing, the habit of observing before you speak is an empath's greatest tool. You're gathering data on the social dynamics and the emotional cues. So by the time you speak, you've already analyzed the kind of unspoken part of the conversation. You respond to the truth of the situation, not just blah, blah, blah words being said. And no one really talks about this, but empaths do tend to be humorous. Humor is a release valve. So for an empath, being able to recognize a heavy pattern and flip it into something funny is a sign of immense cognitive flexibility. It's how you keep yourself from getting bogged down by the intensity of the world around you. So, what's the bottom line? If you've spent your life feeling too sensitive or too analytical, it's time to see it for what it is. It's high frequency intelligence. Your brain isn't just feeling things, it is constantly questioning assumptions. It's exploring patterns, recognizing patterns, and trying to solve the puzzle of human nature so you can move through the world with more clarity and less drain. It's all part of who you had to be at this time. Things are changing, things are shifting, but it's playing out the way it needs to, so go easy on yourself. Look at all this. Look at everything I've just said and realize how that all developed without you even trying. The universe put you in situations, brought things onto your path to teach you these things without even realizing it. Wax on, wax off, Daniel-san.